Hey everybody, welcome back to You Are Free TV. So glad to be back with you here on the channel. And we're going to be doing a great interview again today with Chris Burres of C60EVO.com/YAFTV. And of course, this is about ESS60. And we're going to be talking about great holiday deals, but also getting really deep into the benefits of olive oil with its polyphenols, the combination of having ESS60 in there as only C60 EVO has, and how this increases your metabolism, plus some incredible new facts coming out about how ESS60 is able to accelerate antibiotics ability to kill the bacteria they're targeted for. That's a study that just recently came out, and we're going to get into much more besides why it's good to go naturally to increase your metabolism. And of course, in order to do so, you have to have clean cells. You have to have healthy cells to do so. We're going to get into all of it. And it's that time of year where we're feeling stressed, right? And we know we get into next year, supposedly January, where it's like, oh, we've got those New Year's resolutions. And so we want to get our cells healthy. We want to get ready to have the energy to follow those through, right? Because we always follow them through, don't we? However, we kind of are on a marathon now and need to feel more energized, more focused, a better mood now heading into the holidays. So we're going to talk about that as well. So I'm going to bring in Chris, and it's going to be a great show. Hey there, Chris. Glad to have you back on the channel.
Free, thank you for having me. I'm excited to get in. And you said something in that intro that I think is really important. Naturally, right? Like some people think and they look at this molecule, right? This fancy molecule that looks like a soccer ball, and like is that natural? And the answer is yes. So really important. And yeah, as we go into cold and flu season, people are always looking for something to support them, and we think we have the thing that supports them.
Absolutely, it sure does. And so, we're going to have you, do a quick recap for people who haven't heard of ESS60, haven't heard of C60 EVO before. And of course, my channel, everyone does by now, right? But we always have new viewers. And so we're going to have you recap how ESS60 and C60EVO.com/YAFTV. And you're going to go there and check out these great sales, everyone, because incredible doing these holiday sales this year. I'm really excited about it. And then I'm really excited to hear all this great news about olive oil. And we've had this, C60 EVO has incredible sourcing for single source olive oil. It's really amazing and pure. And we really proud of that. But also, there's been this whole TikTok craze, and there's always some new fad, right? And right now everybody's doing these olive oil shots, right? And so everything there is to know about olive oil. So we're going to be having you talk about why, for one thing, why it holds the most of the ESS60 in it, and go on from there. And I'll get more into that as we get closer. But maybe just jump in now and give people a recap, and then we're going to dig into the metabolism aspect as well, because I think with this olive oil challenge where you see all these women, they're doing shots of olive oil and they're talking about how much weight they're losing, how much better they feel, etc. So put some ESS60 in there and then watch what happens, right? So anyway, take it away. Tell us about C60 EVO and the molecule, the magic molecule.
Well, so what we're talking about is this ESS60 molecule. And if you happen to be listening, you don't need to rush to the screen. I'm holding up a model of the molecule. And if you're listening, imagine a soccer ball where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. You have the spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms in the shape of a soccer ball. The molecule was discovered in 1985 here in Houston at Rice University. That's where our lab is based, here in Houston. And the three scientists who discovered the molecule actually went on to win the Nobel Prize for that discovery in 1996. So kind of a short 11 years from discovery to being awarded the Nobel Prize. Our lab has been manufacturing this molecule since 1991, a full 5 years before they won the Nobel Prize. We are the oldest and longest manufacturer and distributor of this molecule on the planet. They actually thought briefly that this molecule would be toxic, so they put it in a toxicity study. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave it to, in this case Wistar rats, lived 90% longer than the control group. So that's the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals in history, peer-reviewed published research. I'm very proud to share that our lab provided the material, and our lab is mentioned in that original study. So we are kind of the OGs of not only just manufacturing, but also in kind of this molecule going into the health and wellness space. And then Free mentioned olive oil, like people are doing olive oil shots. These are absolutely appropriate. In fact, I'm going to share in that original study, there were 3 groups. And again, they were Wistar rats. One group was given water. That was the control group. One was given olive oil. That was a semi-control group. And then one was given olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. The ones given olive oil actually lived 30% longer in that study. So I have, since the beginning of that study, been saying, listen, maybe you're whatever the ESS60 molecule, you don't know, you haven't heard enough information yet. At least do more olive oil, right? Because, you know, I love what Dr. Gundry says. He says the purpose of food is to get more olive oil into your mouth, right? Like that's how important olive oil is. And I certainly agree with it. Now, when we think about olive oil, there's a couple of components that we can start to talk about if you want me to kind of go down that path, but I'll turn it back over to you, Free, if yeah.
Should we do our own little olive oil hack challenge?
Yeah, well, let's go for it.
You're so good. I'm like totally unhygienic over here. I'm a bottle swinger. Luckily, it's only me.
That's one of the interesting. So I'm taking it out of a little medicine cup. Cheers.
Oh, and look, show folks how beautiful that is. That is incredible. So you're seeing very pure, incredible olive oil, highest quality with the ESS60 molecule in it, which has this darker, almost purplish kind of hue.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, if you've seen, what is typically called carbon 60, that doesn't look like that, then you're not getting this quality. And as you've tested, nobody tests this quality. You've tested everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, bottoms up. Here's to your metabolism.
All right, cheers. So one of the things you'll notice, and we'll talk about this here in a second, is there is a peppery flavor, right?
Yes.
Sometimes I'm doing a shot and I start to talking, and then it like takes a couple of seconds to kick in. I'm like, oh wow, hold on a second, right? Now, if you love the taste of olive oil, you'll love this product, like because it's a high quality extra virgin olive oil.
But the point you're making is that peppery flavor, if you don't have that, you're not having good quality olive oil, and possibly rancid oil.
Let me offer up some evidence. You may have been at an Italian restaurant, right, where they'll pour olive oil onto a plate to dip your bread in. And some restaurants, usually bigger chains, will crack pepper into that olive oil. And what they're actually doing is trying to give an inexpensive olive oil that peppery sensation so it tastes more expensive, right? We have a super small, maybe it's 0.5% or whatever of customers who are like, oh, it's kind of, I feel that peppery flavor. Is it rancid? We're like, no, it's not. I think that's a sign of a high quality extra virgin olive oil. And it's also a sign that, well, we can jump into this. I don't know if you want to.
You go ahead. Yeah, no, we're on this subject. Let's do it. You want me to bring in the third screen?
Yeah, that would be perfect. So I put together just a little bit of a slide as, people are doing this olive oil challenge, as you've got Brian Johnson out there who's actually, has an olive oil product on the market. You've got Dr. Stephen Gundry has an olive oil product on the market. Why would you want to have a high quality extra virgin olive oil? And it is because of the polyphenols that are in the olive oil. It turns out polyphenols are in a lot of plants, right? They're powerful antioxidants. They've got anti-inflammatory benefits naturally found in plants, and they're found to a high degree, in a high quality extra virgin olive oil. And one of the things, as you're thinking about an olive oil, if you're going to follow this, TikTok shot challenge, you want to be looking for something that has a high quality or high polyphenol count. And one of the ways that you can know that it's got a high polyphenol count is it's got that sharp, peppery, throat tingling sensation. This is due to really a specific polyphenol called oleocanthal, and that's what actually gives you that peppery flavor. Now, Why might we be wanting to do shots of olive oil? I don't know if you know this. This is actually pretty fantastic. In Egyptian times, olive oil was used in so many ways. It turns out olive oil is an antibacterial, it's an antiviral, it's an antifungal. That's why one of the reasons you were saying it may sound unsanitary to take a sip out of the bottle, right? Because we all know a little bit gets back into the bottle. But it doesn't matter with olive oil because it's an antibacterial, it's an antiviral. Like there are no, it's not going to breed anything inside that olive oil. That's one of the amazing advantages. So back, you can see old pictures of ancient Egypt, and there's olive trees everywhere because it was just such a medicinal plant. They actually brushed their teeth with olive oil. And now maybe they were smarter. They didn't have any fluoride in their toothpaste, but they were brushing their teeth with olive oil. Dr. Gundry, I've seen a video he did where he's actually saying you can whiten your teeth with olive oil by brushing it with olive oil. So anytime I'm taking a shot, not now because I needed to talk, but normally when I'm taking the product, I actually let it swish around in my mouth for some number of minutes and then I just swallow it like normal. And I think there's two benefits. One, you get the benefits of that kind of antibacterial, antiviral impact right there in your oral microbiome, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And then next, you have rapid access for the molecule to get into your system, right? There's well known that if you hold some things under your tongue, it'll get into your blood system faster. So that's why I do that, and then I swallow it. So here on this slide, we're looking at teeth. It helps reduce harmful oral bacteria, specifically S mutanes, supports cleaner teeth, fresher breath, healthier gums, which is kind of very counterintuitive, right? No one is waking up and was like, should I brush my teeth with food, like maybe peanut butter or something? And olive oil is, in fact, a food. And yes, it's okay to brush your teeth with olive oil. Next is healthy gut. So there's a lot of talk, right, in longevity and health and wellness about having a good gut microbiome, that you actually have good bacteria and bad bacteria in your stomach, right, that are necessary for processing the food. And when they get out of balance, it's not good, right? You start to crave more sweets when they're out of balance to the direction of craving, of eating sweets. In the case of olive oil, it actually does a good job of kind of damping the population of the bad gut bacteria and increasing the population of the good bacteria, right? So this is a win-win. And so it's actually really good. You can see right there on the slide, reduce bad bacteria, supporting healthier microbial balance. And then next on the slide is immune. Do you have something to add?
Well, I'm just what you're saying about the healthy gut, and we know how crucial it is, and the mouth, the connection between the oral and the gut microbiomes and their connection to everything, but brain health, all of it. And what with this study you're going to be mentioning, I'm just going, just comment before you get into that here, is that it makes so much sense in that respect then that you'd have this olive oil lipid system with the ESS60 in it. Okay, that would be able to then amplify and help better deliver antibiotic drugs to specifically go after the bacteria they're targeted for. I think it's really interesting. I can't wait to hear about it, but I just wanted to tie it in at this moment because it's just incredible.
Yeah. Well, and then we'll talk also about mitochondria and how we think it's impacting the mitochondria, and that can also further be kind of an idea that supports why it's beneficial in helping antibacterias go after the bacteria that they're supposed to. In terms of immune system support, these polyphenols, right, these antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, there's two listed here. I think it's lurapine and hydroxytyrosol support the body's natural antiviral defenses and enhance immune cell activity. And I'll point out right now, right, we're going into cold and flu season. What people typically lean on is vitamin C, right? Whether, I got to drink some orange juice or maybe take that emergency C stuff or whatever my vitamin C supplement is, they're going after it. There is an ad hoc study on the web that shows our product to be 172 times more powerful than vitamin C, and peer-reviewed published research that shows it to be 125 times more powerful than vitamin C. So there's a lot of reasons. I've had kind of this people have been getting sick around me, right? And I've had this tickle in my throat, and I just take extra shots. And when I think healthy thoughts, I think that actually has a positive impact. But I'm also making sure that I'm getting this antioxidant support, and nothing is really landing. I used to be the kid. I will never forget when I was in, I think it was, went back to kind of finish college, went back to take some Spanish classes. I'm in Spanish class and I'm talking about how I would get sick, 3, 4 times a year. And the lady next to me was like, "Oh, you're kind of sickly." And I was like, I know, I don't, I'm an athlete. I played semi-professional soccer. Like, sickly was not the phrase that I would apply to myself. But it was true, right? Like, if you're getting sick 3 to 4 times a year, you're kind of sickly. And that just doesn't happen anymore. Like, I'm probably once every other year that I'm sick. And really, it's to such a small degree that I barely notice it, right? Like, I work through it or whatever. It's so refreshing to not be
Yeah.
sick anymore.
Well, and to have your immune system so repaired so much, and that's, we're all fighting such an attack on our immune systems. I'm surprised they didn't ban olive oil during COVID, right? I mean, they probably tried, I'm sure, and we also know how degraded olive oil is now out there.
Mm,
And so that's important to understand, is that a lot of times people will buy it, will say cold press, blah, 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 from wherever. And it's actually a mixture that comes from all over.
yeah.
It's a mixture of olive oils just thrown together, and sold en masse. And yes, it's still better to do that than certainly these other seed oils or anything gross like
Yeah.
that. But they're also very toxic, with pesticides and glyphosates and all of this. So it's important to get a very high quality, and especially in what typically is called carbon 60 out there, but in ESS60, to get to make sure that you're actually ingesting a high quality, non-toxic olive oil as well. And I would love to hear, and I will tell me when you want to bring the other screen back on,
Yeah.
um, that, for you to talk about the quality of the olive oil in
Yeah.
C60 EVO. And I also want to remind everybody, this is c60evo.com/YAFTV. You're watching You Are Free TV, and these are my incredible sponsors with the incredible product that's so pure and healthy. We have great holiday deals on right now, and they are up to 40% off when you buy in quantities and combinations, and you're just going to love them. It's uncommon to have these deals, so I just want to alert you again here, because we're kind of at the middle of the video, to remember us in your Christmas shopping, to support this channel. But also, this product is truly, truly, people have called it life-saving. They've called it massively health game-changing, once in a lifetime shift. And so I want to just pause for that. And we're going to talk more about why that is here, getting into it, and why metabolism is so dependent on healthy cells, healthy mitochondria, and why this product is incredible in cleaning it out. But I want Chris to please, just give us a little bit here on the quality of the olive oil
Yeah.
at C60 EVO.
Yeah, people often ask, why olive oil? And we always think about olive oil as being the right oil for 2 reasons. The first is we are a science-based organization, and almost all of the research is on the ESS60 molecule in olive oil. So that's one. Next, there are
It
other
also
oils.
has the most potent, it can hold the most ESS60. It holds
Yeah.
the most of the magic molecule, the fullerene that gets into your mitochondria.
Yeah, yeah. It's about point. So in terms of the oils that we do share and we do sell, and we again recommend the olive oil, but in terms of those, you get about 0.8 milligrams per milliliter in olive oil, about 0.6 in avocado oil, and then about 0.3 in MCT oil. So definitely the highest concentration. The other reason, why is all the research, people will ask in the original study, why did they use olive oil? And I kind of joke or maybe theorize that the study was done out of the University of Paris. They tend to have more olive oil, at least at that time. Certainly there's this shift happening here in the United States. And I just feel like they were like, well, olive oil looks good. We've got this Tunisian stuff on our shelf, so we're just going to use that. And that's probably why they ended up using it in that original study. And then it turns out to have the highest concentration of the ESS60 molecule. We ended up, right, like when we kind of scoured the earth, the main issue that you have with olive oil and fraud in the olive oil industry is palm oil. So I've got a frog in my throat, is palm oil.
Oh, frog.
Yeah. And so one of the challenges is you can't actually identify olive oil without a genetic test, right? So that is, if you're concerned that there's some fraudulent oils blended in, you actually have to do a genetic test. It's extremely expensive to do a genetic test on this because there's no bog standard test. So what we decided to do is we went to, it turns out we ended up in Tunisia, to a particular olive orchard in Tunisia, and we just have the shortest path possible to them. So there's less people between us and the actual orchard, so that we're more confident that we've actually got a high quality olive oil. And then, of course, we've got the really good peppery flavor, so we know that that's going to be really good. And that's kind of where we have landed with our olive oil sourcing.
It's amazing because, people out there just, for those of you who don't know, it is extremely rare to get that quality and concentration because you're talking about genetics, generations of quality and potency, the polyphenols being the best, all of this over, decades and decades of these same people with their same hands growing these same olives, and that is incredibly rare these days, just very, very rare. And it is part of course the price of the product because
Yeah.
that's the quality you're buying. And I love that about C60 Evo, and I love to share it. So you did it really well there. I really appreciate it because people, they just look at it and they just think, oh, oh, there it is. There's that C60 Evo again. And it's like, no, this is like, this is like an incredible thing that I'm holding. It's an incredible healer. And so I'm so proud of it. And I like to talk about the aspects of it that we sometimes forget to mention that are some of the most important aspects, like the quality of the oils. So, okay, jumping
Yeah.
on from there, go for your next topic here.
Well, and I want to kind of just remind everyone, right, from the FDA perspective, the FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. Although basically everything we've said here is about olive oil, so we don't have to worry too much about it. But it's always good to throw. I think it's the right disclaimer to throw out. I think that the FDA has landed in the right place, and of course we want to follow the laws as well. So I pulled up the next slide on the presentation. Well, we'll get into talking a little bit about, we'll start with heart health, right? It is let me read this, right? So first, the olive oils, monounsaturated fats, and antioxidants help lower LDL oxidation. That's the bad cholesterol, support healthy arteries, and promote better cardiovascular function. It is well documented and well understood that if you replace saturated fats with a fat like olive oil, a healthy fat like olive oil, you will lose weight, right? Like this is well documented, which happens to be the next one, right? Weight loss. It helps to improve, olive oil helps to improve satiety, right? So you feel full, even though you're having a fewer number of calories. It stabilizes blood sugar. It supports metabolic health. It makes it easier to manage appetite and lose weight naturally. On top of the fact that if you're replacing saturated fats with this high quality olive oil fats, then you'll have additional weight loss kind of implications. And finally, what's the point of being in great shape, having a great heart, if we don't have our brain function together? Like that's not really what we want. High polyphenol olive oil protects neurons from oxidative stress. It supports mitochondrial energy production and promotes sharper cognitive function. And we can get into the mitochondria if you want to next.
Excuse me. Yes, I do. And I'll just jump in here real quick and say that, if you're looking at, people out there are like, well, olive oil sounds great. Why don't I just go buy some olive oil, right? And we'll go from there. And so, yes, talk about why how the ESS60 molecule, specifically in that lipid delivery of these health benefits of the olive oil, make it that power combo.
Yeah. So this we'll skip that one. We'll go to this one. The current theory is called the BOSS theory, right? And this is buffering oxidative stress system. So here's the kind of literature on why we think this theory lands appropriately. First, there is peer-reviewed published research that shows the ESS60 molecule inside of the mitochondria. So we know it gets there. And then also way back in the 90s when this molecule was discovered, it was understood that because of the chemistry on the exterior, the bonding, that it can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of that cage. So this is kind of what that looks like. First off, kind of quick refresher, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of every cell. There's between 50 and 5,000 mitochondria in every cell in your body, except for your blood cells, which actually have 0, and your brain and neurons, which have 2 million. It is amazing how much our nervous system uses relative to our other systems. And like any power source, mitochondria is the power source, there is a negative byproduct. You can kind of see here, you've got reactive oxygen species. Think about this like if your car is going down the road, you've got exhaust. If you have a power plant, it's producing out of the smokestack, there's smoke. In the case of mitochondria, it's in this first section, it's this reactive oxygen species. Internal to the, well, first off, the reactive oxygen species, the way I picture them is if they're left of their own devices, they run around like little bumper cars in your body. Everything they smack into, they're causing rust, oxidative stress, oxidative damage. Internal to the mitochondria, you actually have glutathione and melatonin to manage those reactive oxygen species. And you can see them doing that in this healthy, kind of unstressed mitochondria. I do like to pause here. Our most consistent testimonial is actually people take the product in the morning. They report mental focus and energy during the day and better sleep that night. We're all familiar with melatonin as the sleep hormone. So we have some nice parallels as we're talking about this boss theory. What happens? So this is a healthy mitochondria. Everything's all good, and you've got this good balance. What happens when you stress a mitochondria? So first, people are like, well, how do you stress a mitochondria? I like to point out, you are alive in this modern society. You have stressed mitochondria, whether it's smoking or smog or too much sunlight exposure, too much EMF radiation. If you take a plane flight, you're getting even more EMF radiation. Tough emails, tough conversations, just the stress of, I don't know, watching news.
Holidays, the holiday
And the
season.
holidays, yes, family stress and stress of delivering a great gift or enjoying a great gift, whatever the stress of cooking meals, like all of this is stressful. So in reality, we are all stressed and we all have stressed mitochondria. And when your mitochondria are stressed, they're stressed because they have to produce more energy. They also end up producing more reactive oxygen species and more than can be handled by the internal melatonin and glutathione. So you can see in this kind of gray image, you've got the regular reactive oxygen species being managed by the internal glutathione and melatonin, but you've got these extra kind of bad red reactive oxygen species that are left to their own devices. Again, they can run around like little bumper cars and smack into things causing oxidative stress, oxidative damage, kind of like rusting. And that's where the boss theory comes in and the ESS60 molecule comes in. Remember, again, from peer-reviewed published research, that molecule gets into the mitochondria, and we know it can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles. So the theory suggests that it's holding up to 6 of those negatively charged particles, so they can't run around like little bumper cars and cause damage. And the regular glutathione and melatonin that's there, they manage the existing reactive oxygen species. And then later, because your mitochondria is always producing melatonin and glutathione, as it's producing more, then they can come on and manage the existing reactive oxygen species that are being held securely by that ESS60 molecule. So what it fundamentally says is we're reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. And if you think about it, every cell in your body has mitochondria. If you reduce the negative impact of stress mitochondria, you should have what we have, which is head to toe testimonials.
Right, which is fast, which is absolutely amazing. The head to toe part, I love it, and it's so exciting. And so, is you had mentioned in here and you had mentioned, the overall basic testimonial is better sleep at night seems to be a constant, a consistent testimonial. And so, did you want to talk about the
Oh, yeah.
crossover study here? That would be
No.
fantastic because sleep is just the most important thing.
Yeah. So if you look here, I'm sure we've mentioned it to your audience. I just haven't really put the slide up on the screen. What this is the results of our sleep crossover study. because, and I do want to point out, we're a very weird supplement company, and we're like super weird because most supplement companies don't do research, and even fewer publish that research. We actually published a paper last year in May, a paper this year in June. We'll have another one out soon. Actually, we haven't started writing it yet, but the research is done.
Plus the amazing migraine study coming early in next year. That's exciting. Very
I'm
exciting.
so excited about that. That's going to be amazing. So in the case of sleep, again, because our most consistent testimonial, people take it in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. By the way, it's worth pausing there because to take something in the morning and positively impact sleep at night is very weird. Like most people are, maybe, and I wouldn't recommend this, prescription sleep medications that have been well documented to interrupt sleep. They actually, I don't know if you know this. This is an article I was just reading about like Ambien. It actually causes some amnesia. So you
Yeah, it's
don't remember,
crazy.
right? So you
I've heard
don't
so many
remember,
crazy ambient stories that it's
right?
like
Like so what?
sleepwalking, like full on crazy, yeah, episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you actually don't remember how bad your sleep was, so you think you got good sleep. Like this is not what you're looking for, right?
Wow.
I do wish that I had gotten my dad off of them, at some point, but
People get really dependent on them. Yeah, yeah, I've heard some pretty bad stories, and people I know as well, especially that sleepwalking thing, and just the next day, just the day after scenario of just feeling awful, just really feeling awful, basically.
yeah, it's bad, right? And just like that, and you think about maybe melatonin, you think about maybe valerian, which I've had some good results when I was much younger. Um, uh, those are all taken at night. So to take something in the morning and positively impact your sleep at night, I'm just going to switch the slide real quick. This helps explain that, right? If your mitochondria, if you're reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria, I kind of picture sleep has this checklist of things that you have to do, like to heal your body, to repair your body. And if the mitochondria are already kind of taken care of, then it can just move to the next thing on the list. That's why sleep is such a great testimonial. Anyway, so we did this sleep study, and it's a crossover study, which means basically in the blue bar, we collected 10 days of survey data before people ever tried the product. And in the red bar, we collected 10 days of survey data while they were on the product. The yellow bar, 10 days back off the product, and then the green bar, 10 days back on the product. The survey questions were things like, how would you rate your sleep? How easy was it to fall asleep? How restless was your sleep? And how did you feel the next morning, right? To kind of assess your sleep. And you can see in this case, right, this data doesn't show that 100% of the participants, so this is the average of all the participants, 100% of the participants reported improvements in their sleep when they were on the product, right?
Wow, 100%. That's amazing.
100%. And this is a small cohort. We're actually working on getting more people through this particular study. Actually, a more involved study because we're getting a little bit more sophisticated as we grow as a company. But yeah, it's absolutely great results in terms of sleep. And so when people come to me like, oh, I'm sleeping so much better, it makes sense. In fact, maybe now's a good time to kind of pause and talk about how we think of people's experience on the product, because we tend to think about it as a month 1, month 2, and month 3 experience, right? So month 1, we really kind of focus on the focus and energy. Funny there, focus on the focus. What
Focus
people
on your
tell us
focus. Yeah.
is the focus and energy. And one of the testimonials that I'll share is we have an influencer that we sent some product. She recorded her video and she said, I took the product this morning and I didn't finish my cup of coffee. Now, if you're a coffee drinker, you're like, that's a big deal. Like to not only to not finish your cup of coffee, but also to notice it. Sometimes maybe you don't even notice it. And I'll share, prior to getting on this on a regular basis, I was a 2 to 3 cup of coffee per day person. I'm now more like a half a cup, maybe a full cup. And it's more about the ritual, like of making it, and it smells amazing and it tastes amazing. But yeah, so we think of in terms of month 1 as focus, month 2 sleep, and I think sleep is kind of a full month into it because everybody gets a little bit more sleep, a little bit less sleep each each day, actually. And sometimes it's hard to kind of pinpoint improvements in sleep, whether it's quality or duration, to the product that they started taking. The testimonial I'll share here is my business coach. Well, one, we've got the, the sleep study, but my business coach, the way he says it is, for 50 years, he needed an alarm clock to wake up. As soon as he started taking this formula, he wakes up before the alarm clock. And I like to point out, he's a business coach. So he's got late night business mixers and late night business dinners, and none of that seems to matter. He wakes up before the alarm clock, except if he doesn't get the product for like 10 days. And then he doesn't have it in his system. The literature is pretty consistent that this product clears out of you in 10 days. So that's also good to know. But at about 10 days, he starts to need the alarm clock again. He gets the product again. He no longer needs the alarm clock. So that's month 2. And then month 3, if you think about this, reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria, then you should have, again, what we have is head to toe improvements or head to toe testimonials. And we have to be really careful with the FDA talking about, what kind of actual benefits we're getting. So I'll just kind of leave it in the systemic benefits. My father-in-law was using a cane. He started taking the product at about the 3-month mark. He was able to walk without the cane, which caused him to walk more. And not because of our product, but because he was walking more, he actually lost weight, which made him need the cane less and made him walk more. And so that's the kind of systemic benefits that we start to think and see and hear from our clients at month 3.
That's fantastic. And that really is what we all are pretty much looking for.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even get into it because, I say things that you won't say, because you're so fantastically compliant with the FDA's requirements. But, we all know people taking it for, the big C or the turbo C, having huge, buying it by the cases here for quality of life and for incredible results. In the nervous system, as you spoke of, having so much of the mitochondria and getting so hit, I'll just say, especially from the shots, nervous system disorders, et cetera, including brain, hugely neurological nervous system disorders. Incredible help, incredible changes for these people that I know personally. And also, what you said about what it means when you are out of pain, for instance, like walking without a cane, and we both know, we know Patty with her 2 double hip replacements, how quickly she recovered, which is very interesting. And also I have a very close friend who had a hip replacement and recovered amazingly. And her quality of life, before and after is just, it's just like, what? Oh, there was that period of time when I was almost immobile and, and now it's just like, wow, back into doing even more than she was doing before.
Wow.
And so these are the things that people, they sound so simple, but in this day and age when almost everybody has some sort of chronic ailment that affects their days. And I would say, especially since, what I call the bioweapon that we've just been through, and that it's harder and harder, that when you hear something that has this kind of, it's almost like, the body the way God intended, that your cells are working, that they're functioning well, that they are doing what they are supposed to do because your mitochondria, right, is being cleansed, it's being restored, and it is able to be the powerhouse of your body that it is, right? It's your energetic engine here. And so I want to remind people that, here we are in You Are Free TV. We have these incredible holiday sales. And I was wondering, on your presentation, do you have a picture with the products on it that we could put up for people to see?
Let me give me 1 second and I can make that happen.
Cool. So, to remind everybody, in supporting You Are Free TV and C60 EVO, truly the highest quality, they are the ones that use the term ESS60 as the molecule that of the carbon 60, because it is so pure, made in this incredible lab that is literally simulating the heat of the sun. It's just this amazing process. And in the purest that you can find out there, impurity is the problem you find in the market. The quality and the purity, meaning how much of the ESS60 molecule is there, how much, how pure is it? How much toxins are in there from the solvents, et cetera, that are required in creating the product. So what have we got here, Chris? Should I add it to the stage?
Yeah, go ahead. So this is the c60evo.com/YAFTV, right? So that's your link. And these are the specials. And part of the reason we did this is we wanted to focus on that kind of 3-month time frame. And we know some people maybe not comfortable committing right up front to the 3 months. So we gave them the 2-month option with a good discount. And then there's the 3-month option with the 20% discount. And then we decided to go a little bit crazy because we know that some people will get the product, they'll get those 3 months for themselves, and then maybe they'll keep the other 3 months. So we get a total of 6 months for themselves. Maybe they'll take some more servings because some people have certainly done that. And depending on what they're dealing with, we'll double up, sometimes even triple up on the servings. So we put together the special 40% discount on the 6 bottles. And maybe you want to keep 3 of the bottles for yourself and then give 3 of your bottles to a friend. So that's one deal. Then the next special is everybody loves our advanced facial serum, right? It's just one of our best sellers. It's just 21 natural and vegan products, ingredients. It smells amazing. It's got the scent of rosemary in it. And so we've put together this special, which is 2 of the starter set or 3 of the starter set, and then up to 6 of the starter set. Again, 40% discount. Normally, you've got to order like 2 cases, which is like 24 units in order to get this level of a discount. We just wanted to get this into the hands of more and more people.
That is so fantastic, and it does make perfect sense. Oh, and I just put on some of the facial serum, which you can notice right away the glow. It immediately heats your skin up and makes it glow. It's this incredible, and it smells delicious. And interestingly, I find that men really love it. Women love it too. But for some reason, I think with men, it doesn't feel like you're putting on like something, it doesn't feel like it's all like, oh, I got my cosmetics or something. It's just, I'm putting on my EVO oil and it smells so good. But you also feel this tingle in your skin, and I feel the tingle, and then I also feel more aware. And there's something about it that as the off-gassing or whatever goes in my eyes, that even my eyes feel more boing, when we take the EVO, you feel that boing anyway in your eyes. A lot of times people mention that everything looks brighter. And there's this incredible, oh, wow, there's a world, it's like, I think it breaks through the spaceman's lockdown a little bit, like the EMF, some radiation, and there's like, oh, there's the world again, it's interesting. But anyway, I get that from the serum, and people just love it. And my dad uses it. He loves it so much. And it really helps with the skin spots, right? With traditionally called liver spots, or now it's like, the whole don't go in the sun craze. Which is baloney, but it really does help from radiation, from bad radiation of all kinds, including electromagnetic radiation. So it has all kinds of benefits, and these are great holiday gifts. I now give them basically every year because everybody just wants it again. So it's like, oh, you know what you're getting from me this year, and people are so excited. And I'll just let people know that we have these holiday deals, and if you don't find the right one for you, you also can use my regular You Are Free TV code here, which I'll just show for a moment. You can use the YAFTV 10% code. You do need to go to the page c60evo.com/YAFTV to get both of these sets of deals, whether it's my code for your individual purchases or to get to these holiday sales, you need to go to this page. So thank you for helping me with that, Chris. It's really fantastic. And I also want to let people know, so many people love the coconut oil as well, because, and the avocado for food. I mean, for food, you're set on your salads, your toast, whatever. Great. I love the avocado oil, and it has the in-between amount of potency, right? And the coconut MCT oil has about 50% what the olive oil has, but people love it in their coffees and for their workouts because of what the MCT oil does for metabolism. And also, as your ultra marathoner friend has told you, that he believes that in his really intense athleticism, that it prevents damage. It's not just about the recovery, but his experience in running these incredible, crazy 50, 100-mile, whatever he runs, these insane things, that it's not only about the recovery that ESS60 does, that it's the prevention of the damage in the first place, that his testimony is that.
Yeah, and that goes perfectly well with the boss theory, right? Which is you're reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. I think we can all agree that Anthony Kunkel, when he's running 50 miles at a time, is stressing his mitochondria. And so if he's reducing that, and the way he said it is, I don't think it speeds exercise recovery. I think it prevents damage in the first place, because on the last 5 miles of a 50-mile run, where strength and stability used to be a problem, now they're no longer a problem. It's again, it's just a testimonial that really supports that boss theory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. And so we're going to wind it down here at 45 minutes, but I'm so intrigued. You had said you read this new study about and then I do want to talk about metabolism again and natural versus GLP-1 drugs, and why it might be a little wiser to put the natural molecule that is the C60 molecule, ESS60, into your body with natural, incredible metabolism, increasing olive oil versus, anglerfish toxin and Gila monster venom, and what those are doing to your body with the destruction to your digestive system, the hair loss, the huge things with muscle atrophy, muscle loss, versus putting olive oil with this incredible endurance of every level, seems to be what people experience on ESS60. So maybe I just said it right there, that with this olive oil shot challenge, you're going to be paying a little more for this olive oil shot, of course, but you get these incredible benefits, like you were talking about when we first did the show. Actually, before you and I came on, I know I'm kind of babbling on now. I was like, tell me this, and now I've jumped in. But this issue of when these women on TikTok are doing their olive oil shots, and they're doing it with lemon juice generally, and that basically is what people do for a liver cleanse, right? This is a liver flush, okay, but a lot more olive oil and a bit more juice. Grapefruit juice is supposedly better, but that flushes your liver and it sends out all the stones, right? And it goes, you have to take Epsom salts to open your bile ducts and get all the parasites and the little gungy clay balls out of there, right? And if more people knew this, there would be a lot more people out there who would still have their gallbladders, right? But however, anyway, all of that aside, you had mentioned that in what I just described as this liver flush is essentially these women are doing these little mini liver flushes. You had talked about a study to do with rats, to do with the liver and cleaning it up some with the ESS60. Can you mention that here now?
Yeah, it's actually part of the original study where the rats lived 90% longer than the control group. At one point, my director of research came to me and he said that original study, which people lean on the 90% extension of life, but he said that study could have been 5 different studies because they did so much in it, 5 different publications. And one of them was that they injected the kind of same core, so a different group of rats, right? Because one is, toxic, right? Except for they lived 90% longer. And then another group, again, water. One was given water, one was given olive oil, one was given olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. They injected them with carbon tetrachloride, which is an oxidative agent, an oxidative poison that attacks the liver. They allowed the rats to process this for 24 hours. Then they euthanized them and dissected the livers. And what they noticed was the water rats showed no improvements in the liver, right? They were totally oxidized, right? So rusted. And then the ones given olive oil showed some improvements. Again, if you're consuming olive oil, you should consume more. And then the ones given the olive oil with the ESS60 molecule had significant recovery of that liver from the toxicity of the carbon tetrachloride. So when you think about that, and you think about, a liver cleanse, you think about an antioxidant. As an antioxidant in the liver, that's an absolute kind of outcome of this particular study, piece of the study.
Wow, that's amazing. And my little side disclaimer is I'm not a fan of animal experimentation for humans. And we're loving what RFK Jr. is doing over there at HHS and the CDC and actually FDA McCary doing a lot to get rid of saving tons of lives of chimpanzees and other monkeys and things out there for some of these vaccine trials that they're doing. So I'm excited about that. However, that is incredible information. That it's amazing, really, truly, because we know for people that they end up losing their livers, right? Not their livers. They end up losing their gallbladders, and then they, their lives just take a totally different turn because of what happens. And you want to be able to have your liver be healthy so that you can enjoy the incredible benefits of the olive oil in your life, right? And having the ability for these lipid systems to deliver, to deliver the potency of different molecules. And I thought it was really interesting, this paper you had just read that just came out of this study to do with the antibiotics, okay, being delivered more accurately and more effectively with the ESS60 molecule as a delivery system. And that gets into lipid delivery systems, right? Because we know they're doing all this other targeted delivery of drugs, right? It's kind of the new things with biologics and all of this. But it's very interesting to hear, and it makes so much sense when you're getting the ESS60 delivered straight, into your brain, right, by this incredible potency of the product here. So talk about that study a bit, and then we got to wind up because we're already at 50 minutes here.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna sidetrack, but I won't sidetrack. So literally,
if it's very interesting, go ahead and sidetrack.
Yeah. So literally, as I was kind of preparing to get online, right, I kind of looked through email. This one particular paper came in. So it's a study on C60's effects on a particular bacteria and antibiotics, right? And the thing of note, right? So I kind of had the chance to read the abstract. The findings indicate that fullerene C60 could disrupt bacterial membrane integrity and metabolic activity, thereby potentiating the antibiotics. And what that means is the antibiotics had increased efficacy against these bacteria. One of the big concerns now is there's all these bacteria that are resistant to the antibiotics that we have available. And if you can throw a molecule, and again, we think of in terms of for people and pets, the ESS60 molecule, if you can throw that ESS60 molecule into the system, and now some antibacterial that was not effective against a particular bacteria is effective, that's a big win, right? And that's something that we're currently looking for. I only had a chance to glance at this, but as I scroll through it, they were actually looking at a whole bunch of different antibiotics. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's helping the efficacy of all of these different antibiotics. I just haven't had a chance to kind of peruse this paper yet.
That's amazing. Can you send me that link? I definitely wanted to look at that. That'd be fantastic. And then I can tell people more about it. That really is impressive. And I think it should, I don't know, just to me, it's amazing to see all of the diverse, incredible benefits, okay, that you get with the ESS60 and the carbon 60 molecule, and what it means when you get such a high quality one and what it can do. So, it's interesting when you think of all that could happen there too with the combinations of using this product with other products. And someday I hope that you and I will be having those kind of conversations. I used to bug you about that kind of thing, and maybe we'll get back to bugging each other about what it can mean to combine ESS60 with other products for the specific purposes for the potency and delivery. So, okay. Don't forget your pets, folks out there. Don't forget your pets, or people for stocking stuffers. If you have people who are just resistant, shall you say, to taking new ideas for feeling better, I find the stocking is often a little gateway, a little gateway to holiday cheer, right? And that you can help them to help themselves if you get this product into them in these ways through stocking stuffers. And with your pets, they have specifically at C60 EVO, they have the bacon flavored C60 for the puppies, and the salmon flavored EVO for the kitties. Okay, and
This one's the cat,
yeah.
and then that one's the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're fantastic, and you can also just put the straight up olive oil if you have a
Yeah.
nice appreciative dog who isn't super spoiled like some of our dogs that must have bacon flavor, right? And so, but it is those nice touches that really, if you have, pets tend to be finicky, especially cats a lot of the time.
Mm.
And so these are just awesome options. And it works the same in them as it does in us, right? As we know from the rat studies,
Yeah.
it really does. And people, so much stress in people's lives is caused by pets that aren't healthy, and because
Mm.
the pet industry is just all designed to harm your animal, basically, that it's so it can be very challenging to keep your animals healthy, and that's why this has the same effect on them that it does on us. And as you said, head to toe, incredible benefits. So longevity, health in aging, right? This is what I like to say: health in aging,
Mm.
reducing inflammaging, right? Reducing, I'll just say for me, walking without a cane, that means, translate into, less joint pain, less inflammation, less of these things that destroy our quality of life. And the reason is because it's dealing with the integrity of the entire body, which is, of course, these trillions of cells that make up our mitochondria and our entire systems, all of our systems of our body. So it hits them all. It's a fantastic all-in-one oil, I'll call it. And anything you want to round up here as we get towards the holidays. Oh, I'll say this: you tell people they're guaranteed that if they order, is there a cutoff date for receiving by Christmas? I'd imagine Hanukkah is that's coming up here real close. But for Christmas, we're good on shipping dates, right? Is
Yeah.
there a cutoff date for arriving by Christmas?
I don't remember what the cutoff date, but certainly if they get it ordered this week, then they'll still get it in time for Christmas.
Okay, so it's like the 15th-ish or something like this.
Yeah.
If you can let me know, then I will let people know in my upcoming videos, just the hard cutoff, a lot of,
Yep.
because you kind of know it. You ask somebody in marketing, ask Patty or whatever, and we'll let people know the exact date. But maybe even before I post this video, I'll be able to link it in the description. That'd be handy. I'll see if I can find that out, because I'm sure we're good for about a week here, but I want people to feel confident that if they purchase these as gifts for the holidays, that they will get them in time. And so right now we know that's 100% true, at least through this week. Okay, so, and we'll get you exact information, breaking news here at C60 EVO in the holidays. Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Chris, you're a superstar. I love how you deliver all of this great information. Just keeps getting better and wider and stronger.
Thank you.
And you're doing such a great job in the industry. And I can't wait till the day when we're hearing about, the MAHA expansion into ESS60. And we know you'll be at the forefront because you have the, oldest, best company with the best laboratory reactor ever anywhere in the world, and the purest ingredients. So I can't wait till that arrives. I feel we're getting close. So I love doing my part. And I do it, folks, really, the reason is because I want you to have the best thing. C60evo.com/YAFTV, code YAFTV for 10% off. People who support the channel get 15% off, different link and code sent to you. You get into a monthly giveaway, random selected, of 2 different people every month that my sponsors let me do that for, of the capsules, which I love. These are very mobile. Put them in your pocket when you are going out to an event, need energy, need clarity, need focus, and then pop a few. It's a great way if you're kind of concerned about carrying liquids around. And I'll also just let folks know that those codes can't be applied to the holiday sales, because the holiday sales are already what they are, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they'll be, you know, you can use them if you want to get products that aren't included in that sale, in the ways that they're combining things. So that's it for now, Chris. I hope you have a fantastic holiday and just a wonderful Christmas, and that you get some good, I don't know, maybe some of your, you know, your athletic, you know, events in there. Are you doing anything out the outdoors?
I'm not really doing any athletic events. I do. I'm continuing to train. I love to train. So, but sprinting is one of my favorite things. So I love it when I can get out and sprint. I will share that there is a link on, so at the c60evo.com/YAFTV, there is a link to shop all C60 EVO products. That's the button you want to click if you want to get into, you know, the capsules, or, and remember to use that coupon code. But yeah, same to you. Happy holidays. I appreciate you and your audience. It's always great to connect with you. You ask really good, challenging questions, and I really appreciate that. So great to be here.
Thanks, Chris. And to everyone else, you are free. I'll be back with the news. You know I will. I'll see you real soon. And that's it. You are free. We'll see you next time.